The hidden recorder destroyed their affair. Every affair eventually reaches a point where somebody starts asking questions. A strange text, a missed call, an unusual excuse, according to one woman. That's exactly what started happening. After she narrowly escaped being caught at her married boyfriend's house, his wife was becoming suspicious. Very suspicious. At first, they convinced themselves everything was fine. The secret had survived. Nobody had been exposed. Nobody had been caught. But what neither of them realized was that his wife had already stopped trusting him. And according to the woman, that lack of trust would lead to a single decision that changed everything. A hidden recording device. One recording, one piece of evidence, and suddenly, years of lives started collapsing all at once. According to the woman, life never returned to normal after the near discovery. The secret relationship survived, technically, but everything felt different. The excitement was gone, the confidence was gone, the feeling of safety was gone, and according to her, the husband seemed different too. More nervous, more distracted, more cautious. The wife had become suspicious. That much was obvious. What nobody knew was how suspicious. Weeks passed. The husband became harder to reach. Calls got shorter. Texts became less frequent. Plans were constantly delayed. According to the woman, she hated every second of it, because uncertainty was becoming their new normal. The husband kept reassuring her, telling her everything would be okay, telling her he loved her, telling her things would settle down soon. She wanted to believe him desperately, but deep down she knew something was changing, something neither of them could control. The wife, according to the husband, she had become obsessed with catching him. Watching him, questioning him, checking small details, looking for inconsistencies, looking for proof. At first, the woman felt angry, annoyed, frustrated. She saw the wife as the obstacle, the thing standing between her and the future she wanted. But over time, that frustration turned into fear. Because if the wife ever found proof, everything would explode. And according to the woman, that explosion finally arrived, just not the way she expected. One afternoon, communication stopped completely. No texts, no calls, no updates. Hours passed. Then a full day, then another. The woman was losing her mind. Every worst-case scenario started playing through her head. Had he been caught? Had he confessed? Had his wife discovered everything? Eventually, he finally contacted her, and according to her, the message felt like a punch to the stomach. The wife knew not everything, but enough. Enough to destroy the peace inside the house. Enough to start constant arguments. Enough to make life miserable. The woman immediately wanted details. How? What happened? What did she find? The answer was surprisingly simple. The wife had secretly placed a recording device inside the house. According to the husband, she suspected something. She just needed proof, and eventually, she got it. By the way, if you enjoy relationship drama, shocking Reddit stories, and unbelievable real-life train wrecks, make sure to subscribe, because this recording was only the beginning of the disaster. According to the woman, her stomach dropped. Then the new chunks should be. The words didn't feel real. A recording device? Hidden inside the house? According to her, she actually asked him to repeat himself because part of her genuinely thought she misunderstood. But she hadn't. The wife had planted a recorder. And the recorder had worked. Suddenly, every memory from the last few months felt different. The hotel trip, the sudden return home, the suspicious questions, the growing distance. Looking back, all the warning signs were there. She just hadn't wanted to see them, because seeing them meant admitting something. The affair wasn't safe anymore. Maybe it never had been. According to the woman, she'd barely slept that night. The next morning didn't make things any easier. If anything, it made everything worse, because now she was awake and fully aware of the situation. The wife had proof. Not complete proof, but enough. Enough to start asking dangerous questions. Enough to make the husband panic. Enough to threaten everything. According to the woman, she checked her phone constantly, every few minutes, then every few seconds, waiting for an update. Waiting for reassurance, waiting for something, anything. Hours passed. Nothing. And the silence was becoming unbearable. Eventually, the husband finally called. His voice sounded exhausted. Not angry, not relieved, exhausted. According to him, the arguments hadn't stopped. Not for a single day. The wife wanted answers. Lots of answers. Answers he couldn't easily explain. Every explanation created another question. Every excuse created another problem. And every conversation seemed to make things worse. The woman listened quietly. For once, she didn't know what to say. Normally, he was confident. Normally, he had a plan. Normally, he knew exactly what to do. Now, he sounded lost, and that scared her. Because if he didn't know what to do, who did? Over the next few weeks, the situation continued deteriorating, slowly, then quickly. The wife started paying attention to everything, where he went, who he called. How long he was gone when he came home, nothing escaped notice anymore. According to the husband, it felt like he was living under a microscope. The woman hated hearing that, not because she felt sorry for him, because she knew what it meant. The opportunities were disappearing. The excuses were disappearing. The freedom was disappearing. And with it, their relationship. At first, she tried staying positive. She told herself it was temporary, a rough patch, something they'd survive. But every week seemed harder than the last. The messages became shorter. The calls became less frequent. The affection became harder to find. And according to the woman, she started feeling forgotten, replaced, invisible. The irony wasn't lost on her. For years, she'd been the secret. Now she felt pushed aside by the very relationship she had helped create. And that realization hurt more than she expected because deep down, she wanted reassurance. She wanted certainty. She wanted proof that she still mattered. Instead, she got excuses. More excuses than ever before. One day, she finally asked him directly, "What happens now?" The question hung in the air. According to her, he didn't answer immediately, and that silence said more than words ever could. Because before, he always had an answer, always had a promise, always had a future planned out. Now, nothing. Just uncertainty, just hesitation, just silence. For the first time, she started wondering if the future she'd imagined was ever real, or if it had only existed inside her head. That thought stayed with her day after day. Week after week, growing larger every time he failed to call, growing louder every time. Another promise went unfulfilled. The recorder had done more than expose the affair. It had exposed the reality of the relationship itself, because the moment pressure arrived, everything changed. The confidence disappeared. The certainty disappeared. The fantasy disappeared, and what remained was something much less romantic. Fear, stress, distance. And according to the woman, that was when she started realizing something she never wanted to admit. The affair wasn't falling apart because of the recorder. The recorder had simply revealed the cracks that were already there. And once she saw those cracks, she couldn't stop seeing them. No matter how hard she tried, because reality had finally entered the story. And reality is very difficult to ignore, especially when it's recorded. According to the woman, just when she thought things couldn't get any worse, he started making promises again. Big promises. The kind of promises she'd heard before. Promises about the future. Promises about being together. Promises that everything would work out, and according to her, part of her wanted to believe him. The other part wasn't so sure anymore because every promise now came with a question. If he meant it, why was nothing changing? Weeks turned into months. The arguments at home continued. The pressure continued. The uncertainty continued. Yet somehow the affair survived. Barely. According to the woman, their conversations became emotional. Very emotional. The husband constantly talked about how difficult his life had become, how trapped he felt, how nobody understood him, how unhappy he was, and every conversation seemed to end the same way. With him asking her not to give up. Not yet, just a little more time, a little more patience, a little more understanding. According to the woman, she kept agreeing because she had already invested so much, So much time, so many emotions, so many hopes. Walking away felt impossible. Then one afternoon, something unexpected happened. The husband contacted her, and according to her, he sounded excited, almost relieved, which immediately caught her attention because excitement had become rare, very rare. He told her his wife would be out again, just for a few hours. Not long, but long enough to see each other. According to the woman, she hesitated. Something about the situation felt wrong. The recorder, the arguments, the suspicion, everything that had happened. It all felt risky. Dangerously risky, but he kept reassuring her, kept insisting everything was okay, kept saying he had things under control. Eventually, she agreed. According to her, she spent the entire drive feeling nervous, more nervous than she'd ever been before. The excitement was gone. Only anxiety remained. Still, she kept driving because part of her wanted answers. Part of her wanted reassurance. Part of her wanted to believe things could still work. She arrived at the house. Everything seemed normal. The driveway was empty, the curtains were closed, the neighborhood was quiet. Nothing seemed unusual. According to the woman, that should have made her feel better. Instead, it made her even more nervous because the situation felt too perfect, too easy, too convenient. The husband told her to come inside, and according to her, she almost turned around, almost got back in her car. Almost drove away, but she didn't. She walked to the front door, step by step, trying to ignore the feeling in her stomach, trying to ignore the voice in her head. The voice telling her something was wrong, very wrong. She reached for the door and knocked. A few seconds passed, then the door opened. According to the woman, she expected to see him. Instead, she saw his wife. Silence. Complete silence. The woman froze. The wife stared directly at her. Neither of them spoke. Not immediately, because in that single moment, everything became real. The lies, the secrecy, the affair, the recorder. The arguments. Every decision that led them here, all of it, standing face to face at the front door. And according to the woman, that was the moment. She knew her life was about to change forever. The wife spoke first. Not loudly, not angrily, calmly. Almost too calmly. According to the woman, that was somehow worse. Much worse, because screaming would have been expected. This wasn't. The wife simply stepped aside and said, "Come in." The woman didn't move. For several seconds, she couldn't. Her brain was still trying to process what was happening. The wife already knew. She had known, maybe for days, maybe for weeks, maybe longer. And now there was nowhere left to run. According to the woman, she eventually walked inside, slowly, like someone walking toward a disaster they already knew was waiting. The husband was sitting in the living room, looking absolutely miserable. He couldn't even look at her. Not properly. Not anymore. The wife sat down. The husband sat down. The woman sat down. And for a moment, nobody spoke. The silence felt endless. According to the woman, she wanted to leave. Desperately. But it was too late. The wife already had questions. Lots of questions. Questions only one person could answer. The husband. And according to the woman, that was when everything started unraveling because his stories didn't match, his timelines didn't match, his explanations didn't match. Every answer created 3 new problems. Every excuse created 5 new questions. The wife had clearly done her homework. Phone records, dates, messages, the recording. She wasn't guessing anymore. She was confirming, and confirmation was coming quickly. According to the woman, the husband looked smaller by the minute, not physically, emotionally. The confident man she'd known for years seemed to disappear. In his place was somebody scared, somebody trapped, somebody completely out of answers. Hours seemed to pass, though according to the woman, it was probably much less. Eventually, she left. Not because things were resolved, because there was nothing left to say. The secret was gone, the illusion was gone, everything was out in the open. And according to the woman, that should have been the end. It wasn't, because the fallout was only beginning. Friends started hearing rumors, then more rumors, Then details. Lots of details. People started choosing sides. People started talking. People started judging. And according to the woman, the judgment was brutal. Relationships disappeared. Friendships disappeared. People she thought would support her stopped answering messages, stopped returning calls, stopped showing up entirely. For the first time, she was facing consequences. Real consequences. Not secret consequences, not emotional consequences, public consequences. The husband wasn't doing much better. According to the woman, his life became constant damage control, trying to explain, trying to defend himself, trying to hold everything together, and failing. The strange thing was that after spending years trying to be together, neither of them seemed happy once the truth came out, because reality rarely looks like fantasy, especially when the fantasy depended on lies. According to the woman, that realization hit harder than anything else. For years, she thought the biggest danger was getting caught. She was wrong. The biggest danger was what happened after, because getting caught only takes a moment. Living with the fallout can take years, and according to the woman, the hidden recorder didn't just expose the affair. It exposed everything they had been avoiding. Every lie, every excuse, every fantasy. And once all of that was exposed, there was no way to put it back together again. Because some secrets survive for years, until one small device sitting quietly in a room hears exactly what it's supposed to hear. The strange thing about secrets is that most people imagine they'll end with some dramatic moment. A confession, a confrontation, a huge fight. But that's not always how it happens. Sometimes a secret ends because somebody finally stops ignoring their instincts. In this case, a wife felt something was wrong. She couldn't prove it. She couldn't explain it, but she trusted her gut, and eventually, that decision changed everything. For years, everyone involved had been living inside their own version of reality. The husband believed he could keep both worlds separate. The woman believed their future was only a matter of time, and the wife was left trying to make sense of things that didn't quite add up. Then one recording changed everything. Not because it created the truth, because it revealed the truth that was already there. Looking back, the recorder wasn't really the thing that destroyed the affair. The lies did that, the deception did that, the choices did that. The recorder simply exposed what had been hidden, and once the truth finally came out, nobody walked away the way they expected. Not the husband, not the woman, not even the wife, because when a secret survives for years, people start believing it can survive forever. Until one day, it doesn't. But what do you think? Was the hidden recorder crossing a line? Or was it the only reason the truth finally came out? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy relationship drama, shocking Reddit stories, unbelievable real-life situations, and stories packed with twists and emotional fallout, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.